Hi everyone, welcome back to Bonnie Astrology. Today we're discussing the total lunar eclipse happening in the sign of Taurus on the 8th of November 2022 and what it means for your zodiac sign. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for regular astrology updates on what the heavens have in store for your zodiac sign. If you want to book a private reading with me, in particular a 2023 reading, you can contact me at the email address in the description box. The readings do use your personal transits for the year ahead as well as tarot for a tool of divination. So if you're interested in that, you can find me at that email address, and that's the only place you can book a reading with me. So let's talk about this Taurus eclipse. So 8th of November 2022, we have a total lunar eclipse in Taurus. This is actually quite significant because eclipses are very emotional times for us because the lunar eclipse in particular happens on a full moon, but eclipse energy feels very uncertain because we know that the changes taking place are quite fated and destined in nature due to the correspondence of the nodes. Now, this is a north node eclipse, which means that there is something destined about it, and it is designed to propel you a little bit further down the path you're meant to be on, or perhaps taking a new path altogether. And because this is a lunar eclipse, there is a sense of perhaps having to let something go emotionally. Maybe this could be a way you feel about something. This could be something in your life that's no longer working. There's a sense of letting go to accommodate this new beginning or to find this new beginning. But there is something very destined about this. Because this is a full moon lunar eclipse and it's the north node, you might also find at this time that you're accomplishing something, or something is coming to fruition, or something is finally being resolved, or at least getting pushed up to be resolved. There's a lot of unexpected energy with this. So because this eclipse is going to be conjunct Uranus, you can be pretty certain that nothing is certain. You can expect the unexpected. It's quite contradictory, but Uranus is a contradictory energy, alone in the fact that it is the planet very associated with astrology, and yet astrologers know that it's notoriously hard to predict. So you can expect the unexpected around this time with the conjunction to Uranus. There can be shocking and surprising events or happenstance around this time, and it can be linked to news. Right? It can be linked to your communications, people you're talking to, what they're telling you at this time, because there is a cazimi at this point between the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio. And sometimes that can be where we have to tell the truth. Because Scorpio is a very secretive sign, this can be secrets come to light that are surprising to you, that you didn't see coming, that were not on your radar around this point. So you might notice around this eclipse that there's a lot of truth coming to the surface, there's a lot of news coming to the surface that might be quite surprising or shocking in nature. And it can be too that at this point people's actions, people's decisions are quite shocking or surprising in your personal life, and you equally can shock and surprise people, including yourself. So as I say, this is also a more emotional than usual time because it is a lunar eclipse. But aside from that, we have the Sun, Mercury and Venus on Scorpio, which is a very intense water sign. And that's where the South Node is too. So you can actually be finding that aside from being more emotional, you might be emotional about things you thought you dealt with. You might be emotional about things that you thought you had worked through, because Scorpio is associated with psychology, our pains, our traumas, letting go, and that facilitates the rebirth. But with the South Node being there, you could find yourself being quite upset over things you thought you had dealt with, and that's okay. This is about purging out what is underneath so that the new beginning isn't built on something that isn't helpful, to put it politely. This is the equivalent of making sure you don't build your house on a graveyard. You don't build it on a burial ground. You're not building a future for yourself on something haunted. You're not building a new relationship based on the ghosts of your past. You're not building a new career based on your fears that you had since childhood. It's kind of like processing this deep stuff with all the Scorpio energy, so that you can lean into the Taurus energy, which is about value, which is about what matters, what is worth it in the next chapter. What matters to you basically with this eclipse, what it is that really would be a firm, solid foundation for yourself in the future. Even though Uranus isn't necessarily so firm, it's still freeing, it's still a breakthrough. So you might actually experience a breakthrough through something psychological that has plagued you for a long time. That can be through a diagnosis, that can be through a realization, that can be through making the unconscious conscious, which is what eclipses do. They bring it up from the underworld, especially in the sign of Scorpio, to the surface, because then it can't control you anymore. Once the truth is out there, we will handle it the way we handle it. But it's when it's deeply embedded in there and you don't know that it's running the show, that's when it's dangerous. So that might be, for some people, the truth that comes up around this particular eclipse. It might not even come from anybody else, it might come completely from within. So with the conjunction to Uranus, you can expect disruption. It's quite wild out there. It's quite chaotic. People are unpredictable. Be careful on the roads. Be careful operating anything that is, machinery, anything, because Mars is in retrograde, first and foremost, and people can be a little clumsier. People can be a bit more emotional and a bit more chaotic. I have noticed anytime there's an eclipse, people they make really stupid decisions. This eclipse is conjunct Uranus. Your impulsiveness can be problematic. With Mars in retrograde, try to remember that sometimes delays happen to keep you safe. If you ever get stuck behind a really slow vehicle, sometimes it's because you're being protected, and that can be a brilliant way to work with the chaotic energy of this. It's like taking a step back. There is a square to Saturn here, so these revelations that come out, the unexpected news, the unexpected truth, sometimes the truth can be a tough pill to swallow. It's not always going to taste great. So for everybody, there's going to be different ways this eclipse plays out in terms of the truth that comes up for you, or the conversations that come up for you. The truth isn't always easy to hear. So with the square to Saturn, it might be quite difficult to digest it, and it might take a bit of time to process it. It might take a bit of time to fully understand why something's happening or what it means for the future, but there's a lesson in it. Saturn's very karmic. The eclipses are very karmic. There's something about this in your life that is important, especially if you've 16 degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo in your chart, or in and around those degrees. You're impacted by this. You might notice with this that there is something about it serving some kind of lesson in your life, or some sort of recognition of the truth, or some sort of recognition of what's next, or how you can move these lessons or these understandings into the next chapter that is presenting itself with a North Node eclipse. So that is the energy of the eclipse. Now, it's going to play out differently for each of the individual zodiac signs. The timestamps are listed below. As I always say in these videos, watch your rising. But I will say that sometimes you notice eclipses can play out just as equally for your sun or your moon, and time is the greatest teller of that, so you can watch all of them or watch which one you resonate most with. But I'm gonna do an energy card for this and see what the overall energy is for this eclipse, just for an additional moot point, or because it's a Taurus eclipse, a moo point, because it's the bull. Don't hold that joke against me. I can't help the way my brain works. Let's have a little look. Okay, heavy. 10 of Swords, very heavy. But in this deck, I like it. In this deck, it's a little bit more liberating. It's not the man on the guard with the swords in his back. It's about being able to let go of something. It's about reaching the end of something. A lot of people could be experiencing painful letting goes around this time. I will say that a lot of people can be also revisiting their feelings surrounding grief. They can revisit their trauma, and that can be a very painful thing. Sometimes it is darkest before the dawn, and you can feel a little bit like you're in the middle of this dark period, or this period of loss, or this period of grief, or this period of nostalgia. Because I sometimes think nostalgia it's so intertwined with grief. And with the South Node connecting with Scorpio, there is this sense of what could have been or what should have been, and that can be a very painful place to reside. So hopefully for people that are there, this eclipse can, present this new beginning that feels exciting, that feels kind of enticing. But with the 10 of Swords, there's still this sense of processing the pain, processing the past, even your past guilt, the things that you wish hadn't happened, and the Strength card, and being strong about it, being self-nurturing. With an eclipse, it's brilliant to take time out for self-care. It's brilliant to take time out to recharge, to look after yourself, to look after your well-being. King of Cups, to look after your emotions and to process them, to take the time to become acquainted with them, to make friends almost with those emotions and that pain. I do feel for a lot of people, you may find with this eclipse, you're actually getting your strength back, emotionally speaking. There's sort of a what doesn't kill you makes you stronger aspect to this, particularly for fixed signs, and particularly with Leos. I think with that Strength card, this what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And perhaps you're finding that after the chaos of this year with so much fixed sign energy, the fixed sign eclipses and Saturn and Uranus, maybe people are finding around this time that, you know what, I've actually grown a lot. I've actually become very strong from this. I actually treat myself with more compassion. I welcome growth, and I'm embracing these new changes, and I know what matters to me, because Taurus is associated with value and worth, and you know what matters to you. And also, I did think about this earlier, and I don't want this to be regarded in any way of a financial comment, because I know that this eclipse is very linked to the financial system. But I was thinking about how they've been able to change gas prices so drastically. You know, when we think back to 2020, it was so low, and now it's so high. And it's like, well, people are still going to pay it because they have to. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're raising it because they know they can get away with it. And in your own life, particularly emotionally, if you're in a position where you have been tolerating a lot less than you deserve, maybe in work, maybe in relationships, you can raise the price. You know, the prices change every day. They're not necessarily going to stay the same. They're going to change. They're going to fluctuate, especially with Uranus and Taurus. You can have some of that. You can change your values. You can change the price you pay for certain things. You know, in more of a metaphorical sense, you can raise your value. You can raise your standards. You can raise the price that you put on your own time, your own energy, your own heart, and just ask for more, ask for better from an energetic standpoint. And I do think a lot of people need to be aware of that, where they are settling in something. And it's not to say go out and make any drastic changes, because that's not advised. It's an eclipse. But just notice around this time if you feel as though you're being valued, because this might be a time to mention it. This might be a time to establish how you feel in your relationships, in your home life, in your work life. Do you feel valued, or do you think you deserve a bit more than you're getting? It's just something to think about with this eclipse. So I'm going to get into the zodiac signs. Timestamps are listed below. As I said, you can watch your sun, moon, or your rising. I am going to do a couple of cards for each. It's not going to be as thorough tarot-wise as the solar eclipse, although I do hope to get back to that. But just for the sake of time, because this video was late, I'm going to do a couple of cards for each of the zodiac signs, but mostly focus on the astrology. So timestamps are listed below. I hope you have a safe and prosperous eclipse, and I will talk to you soon. Hi Aries, sun, moon and rising. Aries, this eclipse is happening in your second house. So a lot of the sudden and unpredictable changes or revelations are going to be happening in your financial sector. They're going to surround your money and your relationship with abundance, and also what matters for you. This can be linked to possessions as well. So there can be changes happening in any of these areas. Perhaps your income is changing, perhaps you're coming into money, perhaps you're having to pay some money, perhaps there is some sort of fluctuation financially. If you're in a relationship where you're financially linked, or you have joint finances with somebody, maybe in a business perspective, there can be something comes out there that needs to be discussed, and this may in turn affect your finances in some way, shape or form. You may also notice, in terms of self-confidence, you may come to some sort of psychological recognition or understanding about yourself and how this is shaping your values and what matters to you. There can actually be some very insightful moments for you, Aries, in terms of your psychology. Maybe it's your attachment style. Maybe it is neurodivergency. There can be some sort of recognition here, some truth. There can be a diagnosis. There can be an understanding from a psychological level, or maybe an understanding about something you're actually very scared of and how that is shaping your life and what you're choosing for yourself, or what you're possessing for yourself, what you place value on, Aries. So there's a lot to do with your value system. There's a lot to do with your financial system as well. Let's get you a card. You have the moon. Very appropriate. You have the moon and your judgment underneath. I feel like some of you are having some very wacky dreams since Jupiter went back into Pisces. Your dreams are telling you some very, very important, they're making some very important statements to you, Aries. I will say this. We have the two wolves here. There's the white one and there's the black one. So I would take this as the wolf you feed. You know that expression? I can't put it out verbatim, but the expression about the wolf that you feed is the one that what grows. Are you feeding your fears or are you feeding your dreams? That kind of energy. I think with judgment underneath, these cards are actually quite similar. And I'm looking at them color-wise, it's very watery, it's very ethereal and mystical. I feel with the moon and judgment card, there's something coming to light, and I do think it has been stored within you. If you have sudden emotional outbursts, that's okay. Listen to what's coming to the surface. I also feel as though some of you could have some supernatural experiences. There could be something kind of spooky happening for you around this time, but maybe it is that your dreams are talking to you. Maybe your dreams are telling you something. Maybe your dreams have something to express, something that you have suppressed and it wants to express. So I think for a lot of you, there's going to be some deep-seated stuff comes to the surface for you to pay attention to it, Aries, to make sure that it is not running the show from within you and perhaps blocking abundance and true fulfillment in your life. So that's what I have for you, Aries. Have a great eclipse. Toodaloo. Hey, Taurus, sun, moon and rising, star of the show. Taurus, this is a big glow up energy for you. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not saying you need to glow up before you attack me in the comments. You're going to be the center of attention with this. You're going to be changing up your image, changing up the way that you perceive yourself, you feel about yourself, express yourself, identify yourself. There's a complete overhaul when it comes to yourself, Taurus. This feels like a whole new chapter for you that is really quite different to what you've been doing. I think for a lot of you, you're setting yourself free, or you're being set free from some way of living, from some way of expressing yourself. Some of you might be changing your hair, your style, your clothing. With the Cazimi, the Mercury, Sun Cazimi in Scorpio, if you're in a relationship, there may be some news or truth comes out surrounding your partner. There's something they want to express, they want to tell you, they want to say. There might be something about that, some kind of news. And this can in turn change the way that you're expressing yourself, or it can change the way you feel about yourself, or it can just sort of shake up your image in some way, Taurus. This might be your moment in the movies where, you know, that what time period would it even be, like the 90s, 2000s, where there's the big glow up scene. It sort of reminds me of Miss Congeniality, where she comes out in the dress and the wind started blowing in her hair to Mustang Sally. It's giving me that sort of vibe. With this, it's like you stepping out into a completely different, in fact, that movie makes so much sense for your transits. You're coming into a completely new way of styling yourself, of identifying yourself, even just being a different persona, but stepping into something that's the new chapter, the new destiny for you. And even the way you react to things is changing, I think, as well, Taurus. And it might be because of news from a partner, it might be news from a relationship, or it can just be that somebody says something to you and you just think, that is a light bulb moment. That just clicked for me. I know what I have to do. I know who I have to be. The star. I love that for you. Wish fulfillment, dream come true, being the star of this show. I love this for you. Some of you say you always wear black. You could be deciding, I want to wear more colorful clothing. Or say you've always been a redhead. You're suddenly thinking, I want to go blonde. Or there's something about this that just, it feels as though you're being seen. So some of you could be, for sure, because you're a Taurus, in the spotlight at this point. You could find yourself blowing up on social media. You could find yourself being talked about more. You could find yourself getting more followers. You could find yourself getting more attention for what you do. People could just be looking at you. You could just be radiating this star-like quality. I love that for you. I really love that for you. It looks like a wish might be coming true for you as well, Taurus. So let's see what's underneath, actually. Page of Wands. It might be something creative or something that allows you to express yourself. But that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope you have a beautiful eclipse. Toodaloo. Hi Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising. Welcome to the Taurus eclipse. So Gemini, this eclipse is happening. This eclipse is happening for you in your 12th house. This is the house of endings. It's the house of healing, closure, and spirituality. Now, there may be, okay, so this is your health axis. There's a cazimi going on in your 6th house of health, work. It's also to do with your pets. So there could be news there. There could be something being expressed. There could be something being acknowledged. There could be something being resolved. And this in turn is potentially linked to this big change you have going on in your 12th house. I kind of feel like for some of you, this could be very supernatural because it is a 12th house eclipse. And that's very empathic, psychic, clairvoyant, clairaudient, all these different things. It's very spiritual. It's sort of this point where you meet the spirit world. So it might be that a lot of you are actually feeling something kind of supernatural around this time, or you're stepping into a more spiritual identity because you might be finding, maybe it's the work that you do or it's your routine, you might be realizing it's quite mundane without it. And so you're trying to accommodate more of it in your life. There could also be some kind of sudden ending in your life. I'm not going to lie with that 12th house. You might just be closing a door on something, or a door might be being closed. And this could be perhaps due to a work opportunity. Or this could be to do with wanting to focus more on your health or your well-being. I also want to say, in a really positive sense, Gemini, this might be that if you suffered from some kind of addiction, so say it's a vice of some kind, maybe it's what you drink, what you eat, maybe it's what you buy, it could be a shopping addiction, it could be any kind of addiction whatsoever. It could be a work addiction even, I have to tell you that, because of that 6th house aspect too. If you have some kind of addiction, I feel like a lot of you might actually be healing it, potentially by giving it up completely. With this energy, you might just be deciding this is enough, I want to prioritize my health. Say it's that you've been eating appallingly for years and it's not seemed to be any, it's not been an issue for you until this point, and then you realize that maybe it doesn't show up on you. Maybe you're one of those people that just doesn't show up on you, but then you realize it's actually impacting you internally or something like that. That's just a random example. It's about how you've maybe noticed something you've been doing for a very long time is absolutely not working for you anymore, based on maybe some news that you get or some insight you get, and you want to change it. You want to let go of what's not helping you, what's not working for you, Gemini. And this is going to lead to a path of healing for you and greater focus on your well-being, especially your mental well-being. Especially what makes you feel emotionally well. Some of you could be seeing a Reiki healer, a clairvoyant, a medium, or something around this time as well that could give you some interesting insights. So that's an interesting one as well. So Gemini, Knight of Wands. That's really exciting. That's a very exciting card. Some of you could be taking an adventure. Some of you could be taking a trip. Some of you could be relocating. Some of you might find that, well, 12th house is also long distance travel. So if you are taking a retreat, 9 of Cups, if you are taking some kind of trip or a retreat, it might be very healing for you, Gemini. 9 of Cups, there might also be wish fulfillment. So some of you might have wish fulfillment in regards to a passion, in regards to a venture, in regards to something that makes you feel very excited. Maybe you're learning an instrument, maybe you're learning to ride a horse. Anything, Gemini, there seems to be a wish fulfillment coming to you that leads to a bit of adventure. So maybe for some of you, you could actually be retiring and going traveling or something like that. But it's asking you to lean a little bit into a more open-minded energy, a little bit more adventurous, playful energy with this eclipse, Gemini, as well. So I have for you. Hope you have a great eclipse. Take care. Hi Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising. So Cancer, this eclipse is happening in your sector of groups, friends, wishes, and social awareness. So for you, Cancer, there are changes afoot. There's unexpected events happening here. One way this could materialize for you is that you might be moving away from a certain group of people, a certain friend or friendship group or team. Something could be wrapping up there to call in new ones, to call in new friendships, to call in new teams, new collaborations. For some of you, if you're on social media, because I know a lot of people that watch these videos are, if you have some sort of social media persona, this can be a rebranding, this can be a change in your image completely on social media, on the internet, or this could actually be some of you stepping away from the internet completely or a specific media platform. I also feel for you that some of you could actually have a wish manifesting at this time. Now, there is a cazimi going on between the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio. Now, this is your 5th house. The way that this is working for you is that there might be news regarding a romantic interest or something you love to do or a hobby, or this could be something that just you feel very passionate about. And it could be being honest with yourself about what you want, maybe in love, or what you want to make you happy. This is facilitating the change that is going on in your sector of friendships. So maybe you're realizing that your friends actually make you unhappy. As dark as that sounds, maybe the people you're surrounding with are really not good for you, and you're deciding, I know what I want to do, I'm going to reach out to something else. This kind of reminds me of going to... So say you have something that you really feel inspired to do, like a hobby. So the way this played out for me before is I remember taking up aerial silks, like aerial arts, where you do, the silks are down and you do all these like flips and tricks and stuff. And I remember taking that up, and it led to me having a really great friendship that I have now. So there's that hobby, the fun in the 5th house, leading to the 11th house, friendships, leading to a really great friend, or a great team of people, even destined people you were meant to meet, that kind of energy. So maybe some of you are actually starting something brand spanking new, and it is going to facilitate new friends in your life. That can be something that's very important for you, Cancer. So that is something to be aware of. And as I say, a wish may come true for you at this time because it's an eclipse in the 11th house. That can also be letting go of a wish that's no longer resonating with you, though. So we have the 4 of Pentacles. That's an unusual card for this particular... Ooh, 4 Pentacles, King of Cups. So some of you are holding back, I think, on what it is that you truly want. You're not expressing it, you're not putting it out there, and I think this eclipse is calling upon you to do so, to speak about what you love, to speak about who you love, to speak about what you'd love to do. I think for some of you, you're getting back in touch with your emotions. Some of you are very scared. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, I just realized that with the imagery of this, I feel like some of you are very scared of someone stealing your heart or caring about somebody. It doesn't have to be romantic even, it can be friendship. I feel like some of you are very wary of people. Why are you wary of people? I suppose the Scorpio 5th house explains that. 2 of Swords. Yeah, you just have this fear, I think. There could be fear holding you back, maybe from a connection. So it's sort of saying to you that there might be people coming into your life that are new and exciting, and you could be a little bit wary, but it's asking you, Cancer, to open up ever so slightly. That's what I have for you. I hope you have a great eclipse. Take care. Hi Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising. Welcome to the eclipse in Taurus for your sign. So Leo, if you're a Leo rising in particular, if your midheaven is at 16 degrees, this eclipse is very impactful for you in a professional sense. But for all of you, Leo, this is impactful in a professional sense. But if you have 16 degrees of a midheaven that is Leo, this is very impactful. So your career, your public image, the way that the world sees you, and your long-term goals are all being highlighted by this eclipse. There's something unpredictable about your work and your profession. Equally, there's something then unpredictable about your home life. So the Sun, Mercury, Cazimi in your 4th house of Scorpio, Leo, this could represent news or conversations or truth surrounding home or property matters. Perhaps a discussion, perhaps something comes up or is said or spoken about that you didn't know. Perhaps your family tells you something you didn't know. Perhaps there's something comes up with a home or property matter that you did not know, but it is coming up to the surface and you're going to have to deal with it. This could equally be to do with your employment. So maybe you have a boss that you thought had no intention of leaving, suddenly leaves, just suddenly vacates. This is not in your premises anymore. Perhaps someone very important in the workplace or an authority figure exits your life in some capacity. There's changes going on for you in very solid parts of your chart, so this can feel unsettling. But maybe for some of you, you're actually leaning towards a completely different profession, or you're leaning towards a completely different industry. And maybe you're changing jobs around this time, Leo. Maybe you're completely letting go of one industry and moving into another, or you're getting realizations about what this next chapter is going to be for you professionally. That could be the way that that's playing out for you. Or there could be some kind of change in your employment status, Leo, at this time. And there may also be changes surrounding your living situation equally. So the way that it manifests for you is that there does seem to be something unexpected happening with your career that you're going to have to consider. You're going to have to think about this one. because it feels like it could be quite long term what you're thinking of doing or what maybe comes up around this time. But there may be secrets come up surrounding your home and your family that is perhaps facilitating the changes in your career. So Leo, Judgment. There's definitely stuff coming up for you that you didn't know about, or there's stuff being resurrected from the past. I think for a lot of you, the past seems to be in the equation here because it's your 10th house, 4th house axis. There could be something to do with the past that comes up again. The Sun, Mercury, Cazimi could even be someone from the past coming up again for you, Leo. Someone wants to talk or someone has something to say. I also get this really, okay, so this is kind of weird. I just want to clarify this actually, this message. I also feel, yeah, this is going to sound super creepy, but I feel like some of you are exercising out some deep, painful stuff. So you could have some very unusual dreams. A lot of us are, now that Jupiter's back into Pisces. You could be having some very vivid dreams. Some of you could be processing some deep-seated emotions, grief, pain, trauma. You could be really wanting to work through that at this time. You could maybe be feeling called to that because the Sun-Mercury conjunction might actually be calling in the past for you. You could be thinking about the past. Some of you could be doing some very deeply embedded healing work because with the Judgment card, it's like this ghost is coming out of her. And the Ten of Swords is about a painful mental ending. It's like something that has plagued you for a while, something that has haunted you. You're seemingly finding some way of working through it, Leo, I think. Like you're finding some way of healing it. Perhaps some of you are actually consulting a healer around this time or trying some sort of alternative therapy. 5 of Cups, and it's going to help you change your perspective. I think maybe there is some stuff coming up that is hard to express. It might be quite hard for you to express it to a partner if you're in a relationship because of that square to Saturn. You may feel pressure from a partner in some way, shape or form. Or if you're not in a relationship, you might just find it hard to open up to somebody about this. Or this could be pain surrounding a past relationship. But whatever it is, Leo, there's some stuff coming up for you. And I feel like some of you might be dreaming of very unusual symbols. And it's saying, look them up. But before you look them up, what do you think it means? I do think a lot of you have some healing to do around this full moon, and I empathize as a fixed sign. I have a fixed Sun, Moon, Mars, Pluto, and Chiron. So I'm screwed. But anyway, there is a sense of working through some stuff. You know, Saturn's there. The eclipses are there. It's very intense to be a fixed sign, Sun, Moon, or rising. So I think a lot of you are probably dealing with some stuff from the past. I want to bet that maybe some of you are actually feeling kind of shaken up by some changes maybe. But we're headed towards Sagittarius season, which is going to be a lot of fun for you. You know, there's a new moon happening there in Sagittarius that's very exciting. So hold tight, Leo, amidst all the changes. I am not saying these changes are going to be bad. Those cards for me are just saying that there's maybe some stuff internally that comes up. Or maybe running into someone who really hurt you or something like that. I sort of see a lot of you doing some really self-intentional shadow work is the way that I see this, Leo. But that is what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful eclipse and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon and Rising. Virgo, this eclipse is happening in your sector of travel, wisdom, religion, law and learning. So that means there's a Cazimi happening in your 9th house, or your 3rd house, sorry, of the mind, thinking, communication, siblings. Okay, so the way that I'm seeing this for you, Virgo, is that there seems to be a conversation or a communication happening, maybe with a sibling, maybe with a neighbor, or maybe just anywhere actually. It can be from anything. There's a conversation or a dialogue or news or information that is going to, in some way, it's going to make you think. There's a conversation, there's truth coming out, there's something being said. It's going to make you think. It's important information. And at the same time, your personal philosophy, not to sound so Hakuna Matata about this, but your personal philosophy is shifting. I do think for a lot of you, you could be changing the way you view the world completely. maybe from a religious standpoint, maybe from a philosophical standpoint, maybe from a learned standpoint. Maybe you're changing your degree, maybe you're going to study something else, maybe you're taking a completely different direction in terms of your higher education, in your religious affiliation, perhaps even your political affiliation. You know, I believe it's election day in the States. Some of you could be voting for a completely different party than you usually vote for. Something like that. It's like it's shifting. There could also be some kind of travel related news at this time, or redirection in terms of travel, redirection in terms of study, redirection in terms of the law, or just leaning into a different way of looking at things is the way that this eclipse is playing out for you. It's pretty positive for you because it is in an earth sign. So especially if you're a Virgo placement at 16 degrees, this is actually kind of harmonious for you. But I think your perspectives are shifting, Virgo, and it might well be to do with a conversation with somebody else or news that you get. And it's like, you know what, I want to see the world differently. It reminds me so much of that quote, and I don't know for the life of me who said it. It might have been Abraham Hicks, I'm not so sure. But it's when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I noticed that whenever I'm experiencing them now because I'm a Pisces rising, but having experienced eclipses before, on the 3rd house, 9th house axis, it's when somebody suddenly, in fact, 2 people, it was very bizarre, but very destined. 2 people showed me the book, The Secret. And I know that's very whatever now, but they showed me that book and it changed my belief system, it changed my perspectives. And that sort of pushed me forward to having this astrology channel when we think about it. So it might be that you come across a way of believing things, or a belief system, a philosophical viewpoint, law of attraction, or whether it's that you're changing your religious affiliation, whatever it is, Virgo, it's changing the way you look at the world. And that means that the things you look at change, because when you're doing things differently, things will give you different results. So let's have a little look at your tarot for this particular eclipse, Virgo, see what we get. Oh, King of Pentacles. You're growing. You are growing. Oh, and the Knight of Cups is underneath. That's so cute. You're growing. I really like this because the King of Pentacles in this deck is so one of my favorites. He's got this beautiful wolf here to show the pack mentality, to show the wisdom. He's got white hair to show his wisdom because he's aged. You know, he's grown, he has his business, he has his career. I feel like a lot of you are really growing as a person because Pentacles is Earth. So this King of Pentacles can be a Virgo. You're growing, you're seeing the results. I feel like it's wisdom. Your wisdom is changing. You're becoming wiser. You're seeing things differently. You're growing as a person. And perhaps with Jupiter back in Pisces and this Knight of Cups, perhaps you're growing in your relationships, or your relationships are growing as well, Virgo. And for some of you, that could predict a new love interest on the horizon for you, Virgo. So that's what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful eclipse. I'll talk to you soon. Hi Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Libra, this eclipse is happening in your sector of merging, intimacy, assets, joint ventures and joint goals. Okay, so if you're in a relationship, it's very likely that there is some sort of change to your partner's finances or your vested interests with someone else financially. So that could be even the government, that can be to do with benefits or your taxes, something like that. There's some sort of shift, there's some sort of change. It could be quite unexpected. So maybe your partner suddenly gets a new job and this pays way more money, and so you're both excited financially, or maybe your partner's having to go through something that's maybe going to bring the money back for a little bit. It feels as though there's a change going on with joint finances. Now, if you are not in a relationship, but even if you are in a relationship, there's also a psychological way this can play out. So with the 8th house, there can be a very psychological component. This can be where you have the unconscious becoming conscious. Your traumas or your fears may come up for you to work through them. Now, one of the ways this can play out is because there is a cazimi in your 2nd house with the Sun and Mercury. There could be news, or there could be a conversation about your values, about your self-worth, about your confidence, or maybe about your money. And this in turn is happening alongside some insights as to why you feel that way. I think for a lot of you with an eclipse in the 8th house in the North Node there, you're learning about yourself deeply. You're learning about your shadow. You're learning about your fears. You're learning about your phobias. And some of you might actually be conquering a phobia at this time, Libra, with this eclipse. so that you can release it and let it go. You might be facing a fear, and this might be something that is going to help you move into a new chapter that isn't being ruled by that fear, to put it, just to put it simply, I suppose. I get this impression for you, Libra, that this could play out quite psychologically, but it can also play out financially. But eclipses in the 8th house can be times when you actually do merge with somebody anyway. So maybe you're in a relationship and you decide to move in together, and you're going to have to start merging your bills, or maybe you are getting married and you're going to have to start, you know, doing all these different things together, and all of that is bringing up a lot of conversations about money, for example. That can be a way that this plays out for you as well, Libra. Let's get you a tarot card and see what it is. We have the Strength card. I'll give you another one, I think. Knight of Wands. A lot of you could be dealing with a Leo. A lot of you could be dealing with a Leo for some reason. Ooh, 8 of Wands as well. I think a lot of you could be dealing with a Leo, but some of you could be traveling or taking a trip that's very important. I think with the Strength card and the Knight of Wands, you're being asked to embrace adventure from a source of strength. I think a lot of you are being asked to face, I do think it's facing your fears. I do think it's facing your fears to pursue something or someone that you really want. So that's such an interesting that's such an interesting dynamic. I do think with the 8 of Wands, there's very exciting news or opportunities on the horizon for you. And you do seem to be dealing with a Leo. Knight of Cups, wish fulfillment. I feel like a lot of you are getting something conquered to go after what it is that you want. And I think for a lot of you, what you want is to do with travel. It's to do with trying something new. Oops. It's to do with adventure. Maybe adventures of the heart, whatever it is. It's about stepping into a more passionate energy for a lot of you, Libra. So that's what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful eclipse, and I'll talk to you soon. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. A happy birthday to the November Scorpios. I hope you are having a beautiful season. I know that having eclipse season in your season is quite wild and disruptive, but it is what it is. Here we are. Just think this time next year, Saturn won't be squaring your season. It'll be trining your season, and that'll be beautiful. So Scorpio, relationships, marriage, your contracts, they're all at the forefront of this eclipse. So there may be sudden and unexpected changes surrounding a relationship. It might also be that you have something you need to say. There is a cazimi between the Sun and Mercury in your sign. You might have something you need to put on the table. You might have something you need to express. You might have something you need to get off your chest, something you need to tell, something you've decided. And this could be affecting your relationship. If you're in a relationship, I do feel like when it comes to your partner, there's something shocking, unexpected surrounding your relationship. Maybe there's something happens then that they have to suddenly relocate, both of you. Like you have to move suddenly, their job changes suddenly, they confess something to you you didn't know. There just seems to be something quite sudden and unexpected surrounding your relationship, or a key relationship in your life. This can be your best friend or someone you're very close to. There's something about that is sudden and unexpected that you didn't see coming, and I know you're not going to like that as a way of putting it, but it doesn't mean it's bad. Okay, I know sudden and unexpected to a fixed sign, automatically you think bad. Doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It may change your living situation though. With Saturn and Aquarius, it could change your living situation, or it could be that you need to amp up the self-care to surround all the change that's going on, or it might be that there is some kind of, there could be something from the past with Saturn there that is impacting all of this, but whatever it is, you can expect the unexpected in your relationship life. Scorpio, maybe something you didn't see coming, or maybe something is put on the table or being discussed that you didn't realize, and there's a lot of communication needs to come up around this time for you, Scorpio. If you're single, this can actually be perhaps meeting somebody, or this can be someone appearing that is maybe a bit different with the Uranus aspect to this, or trying something new, or trying something quite different when it comes to dating. Let's have a little look, Scorpio. 2 of Cups. That's so appropriate. Let's get a clarifier. And the 5 of Wands. Okay. If you're in a relationship, or there's something coming up surrounding your partnership, your marriage, or a relationship in your life, there might be a bit of disagreement. There might be a bit of discord. There might be something that is a bit of a conflict. 5 of Cups. If you're in a relationship that cannot work, you may leave, or the relationship may end at this time. Or it might be that in a conflict in a relationship, what simply needs to change is a perspective. It's like with the 5 of Cups, she's looking at the cups that have spilled, but there's this beautiful sea behind her. Perhaps there's some things that need to be discussed and your perspectives can be reconciled. For those of you that are single, I will say I do feel like some of you might be mourning a relationship, like maybe recently. If you're single, there could be something that you're not quite over. And perhaps this eclipse is bringing those feelings to the surface and you're still in the process of healing that. But 3 of Wands, it might help you heal to look toward the future. You know, it might be that stuff is coming up for you surrounding the past, or challenges to your relationship that needs to be healed in order to progress, is what I'm sort of seeing for you, Scorpio. In your unions in general. You know, you might not have the same opinions as somebody, but it doesn't mean you have to... you know, any kind of relationship in your life, you might not see eye to eye from time to time, but if there is something that needs to be discussed, Scorpio, it will come up around this eclipse. So that's what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful eclipse, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. So Sagittarius, this eclipse is an interesting one for you. So the Sun Mercury Cazimi in your 12th house is it's just sort of highlighting to me, the 12th house is an interesting place because it's where we see endings, healing, closure, spirituality. There might be some, you might be ending a communication with somebody. You might be deciding not to speak to anybody anymore. There might be someone you're no longer speaking to. You could actually be talking to a healer, a psychiatrist, a counselor. You could be talking to a medium. You could be talking to someone who's very spiritual at this point. And you could be getting guidance from them. There might actually be, you know, for a lot of you, if you do know a good medium, or you do know a good psychic, or you do know a good mystic, you would get some very good insights from them at this time. There might also be secrets that come out, Sagittarius, or something is ending and the discussion is the ending. But this eclipse itself is happening in your 6th house. It feels like there's unexpected events happening when it comes to your work life. So maybe people leaving your work life, maybe you're leaving a job, or maybe you're starting a new job. It can be your pets. So maybe something comes up with a pet at this time that needs to be addressed. It's a good time to get your pet checked. If it hasn't had a checkup in a long time. Because furry friends are like family. Or even if they're not furry, if you have a snake, I don't understand you, but I'm happy for you anyway. Pets are like family, so this might be a time when you want to invest a little bit more in your pet, look after your pet, especially if your pet is acting strangely. This can also be to do with your health and your fitness. So there might be some reason, Sagittarius, that you want to change up your fitness or your health routine or your work routine. Some of you could be feeling really overburdened with work and you may need to take some time off. You may decide you need to take a sabbatical. You might decide you need to take a week to yourself. You might decide you just want to take some time rather than just quit on the spot if you're feeling very overburdened. I think for a lot of you, health is your priority here, so make sure you're looking after yourself. I think many of you might decide you want to change the way you eat, you want to change the way you approach your health, you want to change the way you approach your work in a way that is better for you, in a way that is better for your well-being altogether, Sagittarius. Health and well-being are priorities here. And I think you should really focus on your health, and maybe even around this eclipse, you find yourself connecting to the right doctor, the right healer, the right specialist to do with your health. Or if you have a health condition, this might be a time that you connect with someone who's very learned in this area. If you work in the health profession, there may also be some sort of change coming up for you in your work. You might be changing where you work, you might be changing... you might just be, your work might be changing in some way, shape or form if you do work in the healing profession. So doctor, dentist, nurse, psychiatrist, healer of any kind really. So let's get a little look, Sagittarius. The Hermit, that's so appropriate for the Cazimi in your 12th house. And the Wheel, I love this for you. So the Hermit and the Wheel of Fortune. You're looking inward. I feel like you're taking, you know, the Hermit card is quite passive. It's about looking inward. You might need some time to yourself to reassess the changes, the fated changes in the destiny that is coming around you. Some of you might want to take some time to yourself to regroup, especially if there are a lot of changes happening. You might just need to take some downtime and reflect as well. And I also think for a lot of you, this can represent a destined healer or someone who can help you with the fated changes that are going on at this time. With the Wheel of Fortune though, I almost feel like if you're scared of taking, so say it's FOMO, like fear of missing out, if you're scared of taking some time alone or taking some time to yourself or taking a break from some area of your life, you're not going to miss something that's meant for you. Some of you need that message. It's okay to take some downtime. You're not going to miss an opportunity that's meant for you. Fate is actually going to find you at this time, Sagittarius, whatever that means. Destiny is doing a home visit, so I hope you have a great eclipse, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I hope you are doing well. I was just thinking to myself that nearly all of my friends have Capricorn in their big three, so this is usually the one that is most viewed by the people that I know, so I always have to be very particular with it. Do it well, I will say. This eclipse for you is happening in your sector that is very playful, it's very romantic, it's very joyful, it's very passionate. So for you Capricorn, there may be some sort of unexpected change. Now this unexpected change can come from your children. This can be an unexpected pregnancy, can't lie to you. This can be an unexpected change in your romantic life. So if you have a romantic interest, there could be something changes there. There could be an unexpected event happening there. There could be an unexpected new love interest or something like that. There is this conversation with the Sun and Mercury, this Cazimi, in your 11th house, which is to do with wishes. You might decide you don't want to date somebody anymore because your visions aren't aligned. You might decide you don't want to, say you have a child, you don't want to send them to a certain school anymore because you're realizing this isn't going to help them if they want to be creative or something like that. It's like you're thinking, you're discussing and having conversations in your 11th house. So it's to do with wishes, it's to do with aspirations for the future. You're thinking about the future, you're talking about the future. You might be talking to your friends. Your friends might be giving you very important insights. There could be important news surrounding your friends. And in some way, shape or form, this is changing up the way you approach your love life, or you could be talking to them about the changes in your love life or your creative life, or what makes you happy, what makes you feel playful, passionate, and what brings you joy. But I do see you in contact with a friend at this time and having a very important discussion, or having a very important discussion about the future with somebody, Capricorn. There could be someone appears for you quite suddenly that you just think it's very romantic, it's destined maybe, if you're single. And if you have children, there seems to be something going on with children or babies in your life, Capricorn, as well. And if neither of those things apply, it's about what makes you happy. What's going to make you happy in the long run? What do you want the future to look like? And how are we going to make some changes? How are we going to see things differently? You know, maybe you're starting to date a very different kind of person. Maybe you're starting to date for the first time. Maybe you're deciding you don't want to date anymore. Maybe you're learning an instrument. Maybe you're taking up a new hobby that is part of your destiny in some way, Capricorn. I'm telling you, there's something very romantic about this. Let's have a little look and see what we get for you. Temperance. And the Two of Cups. Okay, there's definitely a very romantic energy here. One more. Oh, Five of Pentacles popped out with the Nine of Swords. Okay, so this is interesting. This is very interesting. Your cards are very unusual. So we have the Temperance and the Two of Cups. I'm seeing these as two different pairs, so you're getting more cards than everyone else. That's fine. Temperance and the Two of Cups. I feel like in terms of your unions, some of you could be experiencing a deepening with an existing romantic connection. Some of you could be healing a romantic connection. Some of you could be evening things out. And the reason that I say that, Capricorn, is because we have the Sun and the Moon here. Sun, Moon, balancing out. So balancing opposing energies, and with the Two Cups. There could be healing going on between you and a divine counterpart. in your relationship. You could be seeking more balance in a relationship. Or some of you could be meeting someone really quite special and quite destined, because Temperance is the angel, so you could be divinely led to somebody. 5 of Pentacles, 9 of Swords. If you don't feel worthy of it, you will always feel like it's escaping you. If you don't feel worthy of it, you will always feel on the outside looking in. Because with this card, the key is right there, but because she's in the state of despair, she can't see that she has the key to unlock the door. And with the 9 of Swords, it's very anxious energy. In your life, especially regarding your romantic life, Capricorn, do know that you deserve the best. Do know that you deserve what it is that you want, and that what you're seeking is seeking you, is what I'm sort of getting from this as well. But it's about remembering you have the key to the door, you know? It's not always about the door opening for you. Sometimes it's about realizing that you have what it takes to unlock it. So that can apply to different areas of your life. Maybe it's friendship. Maybe there's a very divine friendship on the horizon for you, or a really beautiful conversation with a friend that actually helps you see things a little bit differently. So that's what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope you have a beautiful eclipse, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. Welcome to the eclipse. So Aquarius, this eclipse is happening... Ooh, Queen of Cups just popped out for you guys, so I'll get to that in a second. This eclipse is happening in your sector of home, family, roots and self-care. So I think for a lot of you, this is going to be some unexpected development when it comes to family or when it comes to property. So there might be something at this time, Aquarius, that you didn't see coming when it comes to your familial relationships. And it might be something that shakes you a little bit, not necessarily in a bad way, but there could be something coming up there. And this might be, I feel like for a lot of you, there could be some truth comes out surrounding key males in your life, maybe your father, maybe authority figures, maybe your boss. There seems to be a discussion with a male or a person who has some degree of authority over you. There could be some conversation surrounding a very important male in your life, or a boss, or there could be a very important conversation going on in your career or your public image, or maybe even an opportunity there. And at the same time, we have this change going on in your home and family situation. This might be that you get offered a new job, but it requires you to move. This might be that you suddenly get the house of your dreams and you need to have a conversation with work that you're taking time off to look after your house or whatever it is. There's changes going on surrounding home and property matters. This might be that you need to take some more responsibility on though, because Saturn is in your sign and it's squaring this eclipse. You might need to be very grown up, responsible and mature about the changes that are happening, and you might be put in a position where you have to be more responsible. Alternatively, because of Uranus, you might be liberated from a responsibility in some way, shape or form, Aquarius as well. But this is a good eclipse to focus on self-care. This might be a time you want to spend more time with family as well. I feel like with the Queen of Cups, if you're working, this is just for some of you, but if you're working in a healing profession, there might be an opportunity or recognition coming for you. There might also be a key water sign, a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, that is featuring in your life at this time, Aquarius. But let's get you a message for this lunar eclipse. 9 of Wands and the Hanged Man. Okay. You're nearly at the end of something. You're nearly at the top of the mountain. 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, there's the home and family stuff. You're nearly at the end. You're nearly at the top of the mountain. There's something you want to give up on. And it's saying don't. It's saying wait a little bit longer. There's changes coming in. Everything's up in the air at the moment regarding home, regarding family. But I feel like with this 10 of Pentacles, there's a good omen. It's like, don't give up. So maybe there's something going on with a property matter, like a sale of a house or something like that. And you're feeling run down by it, tired of it. Maybe there's renovations or something, but it feels like it's going to lead to a better dynamic with your family. It feels like it's going to lead to a better dynamic with your property. It feels like it's going to make long-lasting changes that are quite destined for you. And particularly because this lunar eclipse is with the North Node, there's destined changes when it comes to home and family. So perhaps for some of you, that's been maybe you've been trying to start a family and it's been no go. And it's it's saying to you, don't give up because it will happen. You know, maybe you really want to have a family, maybe you really want to have your dream home, and it's saying, don't give up because it will happen. The North Node is saying, we're leading you there. So maybe there's some changes happening. I feel like it's just this great big fat don't give up message, Aquarius, when it comes to home and family matters. And also maybe spending some time, you know, taking care of yourself, making sure that you're eating well, looking after yourself, and being mindful about what you want for the future. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I hope you have a beautiful eclipse, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising. Welcome to the lunar eclipse reading for you. Pisces, this eclipse is happening in your sector that is very focused on the mind. It's very focused on your brain. It's very focused on communication. I do think for you that there is some sort of unexpected conversation or unexpected news comes up around this time. There may also be something quite unexpected to occur where you're learning something or you're studying something. So like say you're taking a course, say you're taking a class, there's something destined about it. So I don't know if this is leading you towards something new professionally or emotionally or materially, but there is something destined about what you're learning at this time, or the information that you're coming into at this time. You might learn something about yourself unexpectedly, the way that you think, the way that you communicate. And this could be quite life-changing for you because it's putting you on a new path, one that maybe makes more sense to you mentally. You're maybe becoming more aware of your mental health, your mental makeup, the way that you think. It's very focused on the mind. It's also focusing on the siblings and neighbors in your life. So you might, mainly younger siblings, though I will say that, younger siblings in your life or your neighbors, there could be unexpected news coming in from them. They might tell you something that you didn't expect, or there could be an unexpected change going on with them. Maybe you're getting a new neighbor, or maybe your neighbors are unexpectedly leaving and you think, you've lived here for 60 years, where are you going? Something like that. So maybe something you didn't foresee. I also think for a lot of you, you could be coming into some sort of unexpected news, or you could be hearing from somebody unexpectedly. It's kind of surprising to you, whatever this is, Pisces. And at the same time, we have this Cazimi going on in your 9th house. It's like, this is all expanding your mind. You're learning from this. If you're in university or higher education, perhaps there's some sort of news regarding your higher education, your degree, your diploma, anything like that. Perhaps you're deciding you want to travel around this time. There could be news surrounding travel. That Sun, Mercury, Cazimi, perhaps you're doing something legally, you're getting a new passport. I need to do that. keep forgetting I'm a Pisces rising and I need to do that too. You could be getting a new passport, new travel documentations. You could be making travel plans. There could be a conversation surrounding a trip that's kind of destined for you. That could be last minute, could be kind of unexpected. There could be last minute changes to a trip. There might also be a conversation that really opens your mind. Like someone comes into your life, your everyday life, and changes the way that you think. You could be communicating to somebody in a different country as well. That seems to be important as well, Pisces. Let's get a tarot card or two for you, Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising, for this eclipse. Page of Wands, big focus on communication. Let's get some messages for Pisces. Justice, okay. Ooh, and the stars underneath. I'm going to give you one more. 2 of Swords. That card is so hard to read. I'll give you one more. Virgo got, oh, you got 2 more. Okay, so Pisces, I feel as though there seems to be something legal going on. There, you know, the Cazimi is happening in the sector of the sky for you that rules legality. So there could be a contract, there could be something, a contract could be offered to you, an opportunity could be offered to you. You could be having something come up with documentation. Something needs to be done there with the 2 of Swords. Maybe you're feeling a bit avoidant about it. You don't want to do it. You don't want to look into it. And I also get, for some of you, there might be an apology with that Justice card and the Page of Wands. Somebody might be communicating with you. And with the 9 of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles, I think for a lot of you, there is something destined surrounding what you're learning or what you're working on, especially if you're doing it for yourself, like it's solo. You know, you're going, say you're going to a class and you're going on your own, or it's a new skill set, it's something that you really want to do, something that you really want to learn for yourself. I'm also drawn to the green candle because they're actually seeing the phases of the moon here. So I think for a lot of you, you're focusing on balancing what feeds your mind and what feeds your soul is another way to look at this, because with that square to Saturn in your 12th house, where do you think you feel there are limiting beliefs, there's limiting expectations, there's a limiting way of thinking, looking at things, wanting for yourself? I do think a lot of you are going to be leaning into that energy. In fact, I think that's what this is. I think that's what the Two of Swords is. It's that Saturn in the 12th house energy, your fears, what that are holding you back. But with the Page of Wands, you can expect news. And with Justice card, it seems to be quite important. It seems to be quite destined. It seems to be quite karmic. And it might balance things out a little bit where they're not balanced so much. That is what I have for you, Pisces. I hope you have a beautiful eclipse, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.